Hey there, my fabulous friends. I'm Brandy. Today's video is a Christmas craft that you will enjoy. This is a duplication of the famous or infamous, whichever you prefer, uh, leg lamp from the Christmas story. My boyfriend has talked about this for years, the whole time I've known him. It is meaningful to him in his childhood, and he wanted one. So I looked up, found out this summer I was looking. I found some really small ones that were, between 30 and 50, but they were pretty small, just little tabletop or desktop ones. And so I thought that I would be able to make one. The large ones at the time this summer I found were like $300 to $350, and that's not in my budget. So I wanted to see if I could create this a lot cheaper, and I did. So let's go make something fabulous. All right, so here I am using this leg. I got the mannequin leg off of Amazon. I also got these fishnet thigh highs off of Amazon as well. The leg was around $30, and the thigh highs were, I believe, $5. I didn't pay a lot for them. I didn't need good lasting quality for this. So, I mean, I want them to last, but it's not like you're actually wearing them so they don't get worn. I just simply take the thigh high and place it over the foot, slide it up the leg, and then I use some hot glue to secure it up around where I want it here. It is a little large. You're going to have to glue this, or at least use some double-sided tape or something, because the mannequin leg is very slippery and this just slides right down. Be careful. I do use this silicone spatula because the glue will come straight through this lace. So just be aware of that if you are using hot glue. I have burned my fingers plenty of times and I try very hard to avoid it. I don't avoid it, but I do try. At the back here, because this was a little bit big, I do kind of ruffle the garter part just a little bit. I just kind of gather it and do a little bunch at the back uh, because it was a little bit larger than the actual mannequin leg here. So I just kind of fold it over and give it a little bit of a pleat. You can't tell on the fishnet part, but on the garter part, it just gives it a little bit of an added feature at the back there. You just want to pleat it, try to make it look as even as possible so that it actually looks intentional instead of um, unintentional. So, all right, so here I am taking these feet, and I was going to screw them on. I didn't have the right size screws. My screws were too long. So I just ended up gluing these on. I did come back in later and add some screws once I got the right size, but I wanted to secure those. I also have a hole drilled in the bottom of this board so that my light cord can come down through the bottom. Um, this wasn't like I wasn't totally sure how I was going to do this when I started out. I knew that I wanted the light to go down through the leg and the cord to come out the bottom. So it was a little bit of trial and error, I will admit. Uh, but I finally figured out the best way to do it, I think, for me. And I learned some things along the way that could help you as well. So if you're going to recreate this, um, use whatever base you can find, whatever you want to use. You could use a solid piece of wood. You could drill a hole and route out a channel for the cord to go so that this could sit flush down. Or you can add some little feet, little wooden squares, whatever you want for this base. This base piece was a clearance item that I got from either Family Dollar or Dollar General. I'm not totally sure which store I got it at now. But these were really inexpensive. They were on clearance for $1.50, somewhere in there. These are not wood, however. These are like a pressed cardboard. They feel like wood until you drill into them. So, if you wanted solid wood, you could do that as well. It it works perfectly. So, and here I'm just kind of lining up. This is a PVC pipe that I was going to run the cord through. this is what I started with, but I ended up going with something that had a larger hole on the inside, to be able to fit the cord adapter, the plug part through. So I used a heavy piece of cardboard tubing that came from the inside of the heat transfer vinyl. So that's what I end up using. But whatever you can find, whatever kind of tube you can find that your cord will fit through. And then I take a very big boring bit and I just drill into the bottom of the foot. And yes, I felt like I was being very mean at this point. But to be honest with you, this plastic was extremely thick and I had to use a lot of pressure to get through the foot. It was a lot thicker than I anticipated drilling through. I thought it would be pretty, easy plastic. But once I got through the hole there, then I kind of had to fish out a piece of that hard plastic that was up inside there. So, all right. Again, I'm going to run my light cord down through the heel of the foot, through the tube that will become the heel of the shoe, and out through the bottom of my board. You can do this any way you want. I wanted the leg to light up as well as have light above where the, light bulb would be. I used an LED strip and I attached mine to a square dowel rod. I didn't have a round one, so I used a square one, and I had my light cord coming all the way through. If you do, you could also buy one of the like the light bulb fixtures that just has the cord attached and it's just a light bulb screw. You could use that as well and just run the cord through. That would. Okay, so this is the next day, and I apologize if my voiceover is a little choppy there. I had some technical difficulties, but here I'm just taking a piece of twine and I am fishing it through the foot. I'd actually tape it to the bottom because I don't want it to pull through. I want to be able to just easily pull the cord through the bottom because there's a connector here that I have to connect to the piece that actually plugs into the wall. So here I'm just picking out a little piece of the plastic that when I used the drill and I drilled it through the foot, it left a little, piece on the inside to where my plug wouldn't go through the hole. So I just had to use my little pick there. It's actually a weeding tool, and I just picked it out. It was what I had on hand that I could kind of reach up there. So I'm just taping this off, and I just run it down through the leg. I tape it to the connecting piece that I'm sorry, cannot think of what I wanted to say there, but I taped the twine to the bottom of my LED strip where the plug is because I wanted to be able to pull that through the hole in the bottom of the foot without having any problems. So I used this square dowel rod. Again, I'm not sure that was the best choice. That was what I had on hand. If I was doing this again, I would either use a round dowel rod or I would not wrap it around. I would go up one whole side, down the other side, up one whole. You see what I'm saying? I would kind of go up, straight up, just because it kind of, at one point you can kind of see where I did the wraparound through the foot part, only the foot and just a little area of the lamp. So I just go from one end of this dowel rod to the other. This is longer than the leg. It does stick up out of the leg, and I will show you that in a little bit. But this was the easiest way for me to do it, and I was just kind of, again, learning as I went along here and kind of learning as I went. So that's what I'm doing here. Again, I apologize if my voiceover is a little choppy. This specific piece of this video, I had the hardest time even getting transferred to my computer, so it seems to be a little bit choppy, and I apologize for that. I did not want to leave this part out because this was how I put the light in, so I really wanted to include it. I just wrapped the light. It has the sticky back. I just pull the excess piece off and I just continue to wrap. I do try to keep it equidistant apart from itself because I wanted the light to be radiated evenly throughout the leg. So I'm just gonna kind of let you watch this as I'm doing it. I hope it's not too choppy for you. I do apologize if it is. On my side, this is showing a little bit choppy and I'm not totally sure why. Again, I had some technical difficulties and I thought I had fixed all of them, but this part is still just a little bit choppy. So I wrap it all the way up to the top, and then I just kind of secured it with a little bit of extra glue up at the top. I do want to say that if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I am trying very hard to get to 1,000. I would love to do so before Christmas. I really would love to get my channel monetized, and my first step is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm very close. I'm over 950 at this point, and just a few 40 or so more to go, 30 some odd more to go, and I will be at my 1,000 goal. So I would appreciate it if you are not subscribed. Please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Join a fabulous friends here. Everybody here is very nice. This is a fun space just where we make some fun crafts and do some fun things. Like this leg lamp. It's kind of a unique piece, but again, this is something that I wanted to make for my boyfriend. He has talked about this for a long time. So once I had the LED light wrapped all the way around, and I'm not sure if you're seeing this clearly or not, because again, this is kind of choppy on my side and I apologize for that. I just pull this string, I pull it all the way through the leg, and I place it in there, and I pull the string and get it out the bottom. So I'm going to let you watch this part as I just, pull this through. Let me know what your favorite, either old time or new Christmas movie is. I love all the classics. One of my favorite movies is any version, and probably all versions, of A Christmas Carol. I love those. I also love White Christmas, and I love some of the newer ones. One of my favorite, newer ones is, I just forgot the name of it. You're going to know it as soon as I say who's in it, but it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he does the Christmas movie, Jingle All the Way. That's the one. I like that one. I think that one's funny. But I honestly had never seen this movie until I met my boyfriend. It was not a favorite of my dad's, so it wasn't one that I really saw. Again, I had seen bits and pieces of it. So this is an American classic Christmas movie that everybody seems to love. And this the leg lamp, I thought it was an interesting idea to try to make it. So I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that this piece of the video is not choppy for you. Again, it is a little choppy for me, and I apologize. I hope I explained well enough what I'm doing. I basically just wrapped the light around the piece of dowel rod, put it through, and pulled the cord down through the bottom, out through the heel, and through the tube that is going to be the heel of the shoe eventually. Now, we should be past the choppy part of this video. Should not have any more issues. If there have been any on your side, there are on mine. So, okay, the light is down in the leg, and this is tall, so I apologize that you can see my light and my microphone in here. This space is not really conducive for working on tall things and videoing them at the same time. So I'm pulling the leg, I am pulling the light up through the leg enough to where it's not angled, because the foot is angled, so it's kind of down far enough but not up too high either. And then I'm using some popsicle sticks at the top of the leg just to secure. I marked on my stick where I wanted to secure it to, so that I knew. And then I just kind of add a little bit. I don't really add glue to the stick itself because I was afraid of messing up the lights, but I do add popsicle sticks on the two sides, and then I believe across the front and the back, so that it's basically a square in the end with the popsicle sticks just holding it all in place. This seemed to work out really well, so it hasn't been a problem, and this has been on display in my house now for a few days, and it hasn't been an issue. Again, I just used some popsicle sticks to secure that up there. You can do something different if you like, but this was the easiest way for me to do it. Okay, so here I am going to create the high heel. I use um, some clay. This is air dry Crayola clay. Not the best. It did crack and I had to fill it in later on. But again, this is my first. I'm not a clay person. I've never really used clay. I picked up those clay tools at Dollar Tree. I wanted to make sure there was no dust on my silicone mat here. And my little vacuum does not work to get the dust and the glitter off of my silicone mat, which is frustrating because I use a lot of glitter things, especially at Christmas time. So I just get out a piece of the clay and I just, I'm trying to learn as I go. I probably should have molded it in my hands a little bit more first instead of just trying to do it this way. I probably should have warmed it up a little bit. From what I've seen now, I've been watching other people because I kind of did, like I said, when it cracked a little bit. So um, use whatever clay, do some research and figure out what clay would be the best for you to use. Again, I've never used clay before, not in this way, definitely. So I just take little pieces and I'm cutting them into where I have one flat edge, and then I'm just kind of trying to mold it around to make a shoe, a high heel. Um, as you can see, I did cut the piece of cardboard kind of angled up there. And so the basic shape was there. The foot was already angled, which was nice. The toes are at a point, which is nice. So all I had to do was basically form a shoe around this, which wasn't actually too difficult. It was actually pretty easy once I got started on it. So I just put some on there. I wrap it around. I don't know if you could actually use a high-heeled shoe on this. The foot is actually pretty small. I thought about going to the thrift store and trying to find, but I think it would have to be like a size 4. This was really tiny. Not sure the luck of finding a shoe, but then again, I wanted to run the light cord down through the bottom. I didn't want the cord coming out the top, and I wasn't sure how else to do this except to have the cord running through the bottom of the foot and out the bottom of the piece of wood. So this was my option of adding a shoe. Let me know if you think of a different way that might be better to do this shoe. Again, I'm just adding little pieces. I'm kind of molding them together, shaping around the foot, cutting off the excess, and just forming the shoe the best I can. Now, what I did was I smoothed it out. Once I get the whole shoe on, I add some water to my fingers and I kind of smooth it out to get rid of all the little impressions and the little divots from where my hands are, pushing in on it. I did get a hole in the fishnet here, if you can see that on the side there. But the clay was covering it up, so I wasn't worried about it. It wasn't being stretched any further, so I didn't bother replacing that with the other one. I just left it because, again, you can't see it. It's underneath of the clay. So, you just have to kind of figure out if that's going to bother you. You can't see it now on mine at all. So, again, just using the clay, kind of forming around the foot. And then, like I said, I did smooth it out as best I could with some water. Let it dry for 24 hours or so. The next day I came down, there were cracks in it. So I used Dollar Tree spackle. That's what I had on hand. Actually, I had other stuff on hand, but I didn't want to go out to the, actual, get the actual spackle that we have. It worked perfectly. It sealed those cracks right up. Then I sanded a couple of times with a sanding sponge and a piece of sandpaper to get it as smooth as possible. So I will tell you, it's not a perfect shoe. However, with it being painted black and the base black as well, I don't think it's noticeable. It is to me because I made it, but just do the best you can with the shoe. I tried to create a little pointed toe shoe here because the foot was shaped that way. As you can see, I'm just kind of forming it around, and then I keep turning the leg. Sorry, my lights kept going in and out here, and I'm not sure why, but I kept turning the foot around, and so I could see it from all the angles. And then I go back and just kind of use these tools. I picked these tools up from the Dollar Tree, these little shaping clay tools. And I used them to kind of cut off the excess around the base, just to kind of clean up my edges here a little bit. And then just kind of like making sure that it was sticking to the base of, on the heel especially, it was just a cardboard tube that I cut, and I wanted it to like form around it, so I just kept working it with my hands. Again, I have never used clay before, especially to sculpt something, so this was completely new to me, and I think it turned out pretty well. I'm happy with the way it turned out in the end. So you just have to kind of work with it as best you can and do your best. Like I said, this was my first time using any kind of clay. Air dry clay is what you would have to use, because obviously you can't put this whole leg in the oven. So you could use the baked clay, and I didn't buy expensive air dry clay, and you could if you wanted to. So far I haven't had any problems except for the initial cracking. It hasn't cracked anymore since then, after I let it dry for 24 hours, and I did just fill in those cracks with the Dollar Tree spackle. So it worked out well that way for me. So, just do the best you can with this shoe. Again, I'm not a sculptor, but here it is. It does have some bumps and lumps. Again, I did sand after it was completely dry. And then I have this chalkboard paint. I believe I got this from Dollar Tree because I couldn't find any black paint anywhere, believe it or not. It's like when I'm looking for something specific, sometimes it's just not there. And this is matte, which I did want it matte because I didn't want it shiny at the bottom, because I didn't want the focus to be on this base, on the shoe, yes, but not on the base. So I didn't do it shiny. And you just want to make sure that you fill in all the cracks, all the little crevices. Since it's been sitting upstairs, I have noticed a spot that is kind of driving me a little crazy, where I can see the clay through the black paint. And I'm just going to take some paint upstairs and do a little touch up. So you just want to completely cover. I did do 2 full coats on the shoe and 2 full coats on the base itself. And again, whatever base you use, mine is MDF, so it really soaked up this paint. But if you use wood, it might do that as well. I apologize. I had not turned my phone to silent. I apologize for that. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. And again, just painting all the way around. And I do give it 2 full coats, just finishing up here. What do you think of the high heel? I actually think it turned out pretty good for my first time using any kind of clay to sculpt with. I was happy with the way it turned out in the end and the whole overall look. So let me know what you think. How did I do on this shoe? All right, this lampshade I picked up at the thrift store for $2.99. I wanted to get the look of the lampshade that was in the movie, so I had a picture of it on my phone, and I went and I found this one. It was perfect, and again, $2.99, great price. As you can see, my lampshade doesn't sit up quite high enough because you need to be able to see the garter part of the fishnet. So I just use these little cubes, those little wooden cubes. You could use anything to kind of brace it up higher. I start with 2 and then check, and it's still a little bit too low, so I add a third. And at that point, I was like, okay, this may not be too sturdy, so if I have to add any more, I would have kind of played with it. But I actually only had to add 3, and it is sturdy, so worked out pretty well. Then I took this black fringe. I also ordered this off of Amazon. It was only like $10 for this large roll of fringe, which if you go to the craft store and you buy fringe, You buy it by the yard and it's a lot more expensive. So I would recommend buying your fringe. Check it out on Amazon because again, I get this huge roll and it was only $10, which was a lot cheaper than what I found it in the craft store for only like 2 yards would have been like 20 some dollars. And I was like, oh, I might need more than that. So again, I ordered this off Amazon. I will link that below. The three things that I ordered off of Amazon, no, four things, because I ordered the leg, I ordered the light, I ordered the fringe, and the fishnet hose. Here is the final project. What do you think? How do you think I did? This is it at night. I'm sorry the picture is not too good, but it's really difficult to get a picture of a light at nighttime this way. So there you have it. If you want to create this leg lamp, I will have linked below the mannequin leg um, and the lights that I used. They're just simple LED lights, but I did buy the soft yellow just to kind of go with the theme of the movie. So it turned out beautifully. He loves it. He's very excited to have that. And so I'm excited for him. If you want to recreate this, let me know if you think that you would like to create this or if you would like to have one of the lamps. I had never even, honestly, never even seen the movie until I met him. So it was, something I had never really, of course, I had seen pictures of the leg lamp, but I had never seen the Christmas Story movie. So I enjoyed making this for him, and he is very thrilled to have it here. I hope that you will try to make your own. If you do, let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. How did I do? I spent about $50 total on all the supplies. Um, if you add in everything that I already had, probably closer to $60, but still very inexpensive, and it is very tall. It fills our bay window perfectly, and he loves having it there. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you find it useful. Until the next time, I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.